Hello, collective. How's everybody doing? We are here with a timeless reading. Before we get started, let's set the intention for this to be a space where everyone allows themselves to feel seen and validated, and ultimately for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with the highest good. Okay, so what I'm seeing is that you know something, and I'm seeing you be like very clear and very solid on this. However, there's this part of you that may be coming up that's like trying to delude you in some way. It's like between you and yourself. Even though like other people can be connected with this, this always comes back to a relationship between you and you. So you know, hey, my intuition is speaking to me here. You're not wrong. You're definitely picking up on something. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Okay? I don't know what the Seven of Swords is for you yet at this point, but what I'm getting is that with the Seven of Swords and the High Priestess, this can be like, my intuition is telling me this, but because I'm not fully trusting it, I may go in the other direction, but you just want to lean into it. Like, I'm not picking up on something for no reason. I'm picking up on something. I may not know what exactly that is, but I trust myself, and I know that I have this intuitive ability, and I can sense that something is happening here, and that I'm like, my ears are perking up to this to listen. So lean into that. Because this is divine guidance that you're getting. But yeah, that it can even be like your intuition nudging you in a particular direction, and then like fear creeping up, or something being like, don't go that way, you know. But this is really how you're going to know the difference. The High Priestess, your higher self, your intuition, it's going to communicate with you in a way where it's like, follow what's exciting to you, follow what's inspiring to you, like go where your heart is. You know what, you may not know how everything's gonna work, but just trust the process. Like, that's what your intuition is gonna sound like. Like, take that chance. If this isn't working, you don't need it anymore. Like, if that's not resonating with you, walk away from it. Stuff like that. That's what your intuition says. Fear is gonna be like, oh, well, what if something bad happens? What if this happens? You know, what if you get rid of that and then you don't have this other thing to replace it? It's stuff that comes in the form of like worry and sabotage and scarcity as well. Like, oh, even though I need this, I'm not gonna like spend on it right now, and because that money won't come in any other way. You know, it's like limiting yourself. Okay. But yeah, I'm seeing this be something emotionally that's going on for you. Coming out as the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is coming out a little bit sideways though. A choice. This impacts you on an emotional level. Maybe something that you need to make your mind up about. Maybe a conversation that needs to be had about how you're actually feeling. But there can be something, like the way that I'm seeing the Queen of Cups, I feel like you can tilt either way. Like, you can go into Shadow Queen of Cups, or you can sort of shift a little bit and be in... Sorry, I hear O meowing in the background. Anyway, what I'm getting is that there's something here that you may be turning around. For some of you, there's another person involved in this. This is about needing to like share how you really feel and be honest. The song Be Honest by Georgia Smith is coming through. Yeah, I'm seeing there be a conflict between like the head and the heart, because you can be feeling something but maybe haven't spoken up about it. If you guys hear O meowing in the background, she's fine. We're just in a new place now, so she's just exploring and discovering and chirping and echoing, so she's fine. She's just exploring if you hear her little meows. Just in case anybody was worried. Okay, yeah. I'm seeing you definitely want to lean into this. This is how I'm feeling. I'm not at all like evading that from myself or anyone else. I'm being very direct and upfront about it. This is also like, I don't mind talking about how I'm feeling, but this is also like being parsimonious as well, is how I see the King of Swords. So that's like knowing when it's appropriate and when it's not appropriate to be sharing, especially things that are impacting you. This is also like, I acknowledge that my feelings are my responsibility and that I'm not putting that on anybody else too. So you know, again, like when it's appropriate to bring something up and when it's not. Using your discernment rather than like making your feelings anybody else's problem. It's like, how can I deal with that and how can I be receptive to that and how can I care for that? Because I'm seeing like something is going to be iterated as far as a manifestation, something internally you're going to be seeing. Externally, there's something here that's being created, manifested. It has to do with like how you're talking about what you're feeling, and I'm also hearing what you're going through. But it's kind of like you need to be, I'm hearing the voice of reason, you need to be the one to kind of bring this up, it seems, and express this. But it's something that like it starts here and then it comes out through the mouth. So it's not just all focused around here. This is not just like solely an intellectual conversation or like a philosophy that's being spread around, or like something that you're sharing, or a conversation that you're having, something that you're writing that you're like really pensive about, thinking about. This is more so like something that you feel that you're going to express this verbally, to have the King of Swords and also the Magician here, because the Magician is Mercury. So this is like, how are you expressing yourself? What medium are you using to express yourself? And more than likely through the throat chakra. So this can be like writing, it can be anything, audio, it can be speaking through conversation, but there's something here that's being created. For some of you, you feel hurt about something, or it's just pain that you're experiencing right now. I think you're also getting to this point of like seeing the effect of when I talk about things in this way, like when I think about it and then translate it out through my mouth or through what I'm writing or through what I'm texting, there's like this learning here that's happening. I think you're also getting to this point where maybe before you didn't feel so effective. And so you were like, what do my words matter anyway? What does like how I frame this or that matter anyway? Like maybe you weren't seeing like actually how big of an effect and also a butterfly effect that this has. And I'm seeing you get to a point now where you're like, this really does actually matter. Like how I frame things matter, how I speak about them matter. I'm also seeing that like you have an audience as well. Like there are people around you that are learning from you. And what you have going on. So know that too. It's not only just you that you're affecting, you're also affecting the people around you that are connected with what it is that you're putting out there. Just because you're in a spot now where there are things that you're gaining awareness of that you weren't aware of before, like don't let that hold you in a space of regret. Because as you're growing, you grow your perspective as well, and you couldn't help certain things that happened before, you know. I strongly believe that we really are doing the best that we can at any given moment, like with the tools that we have or don't have, you know. Because nobody really tries to do badly on purpose, and if they do, they feel like they're doing that because it's better than the alternative, you know? It's always to keep ourselves safe when we're working from the ego space. So I'm seeing you get to a point where you're understanding the the impact energetically that you have both like on your life and also like the people that you have conversations with. So I don't know like where this is within your life that you have, like, I'm using the word audience, but this can really be like anybody that connects with you and what you're doing like on a daily basis. It can be, or in a like creative sector of your life. But as like other people are affected by you potentially, I'm seeing there be stuff that you're learning even about yourself and the things that you create. It kind of feels like a kid being handed a crayon for the first time and like drawing something and being like, wow, it's coming to life. And it feels like Harold and the Purple Crayon. That's what's coming through. Like things coming off of the page now, where before it was like this 2D thing that you were like, okay, cool, like that's what it does. And now things are coming to life, and I'm seeing you be aware of that and observant of that now. So I'm seeing you be in this period right now where you're like, oh, I can manifest things, I can create things. Like I'm seeing something even like before your eyes you're beginning to see now. But it could have been something before where you were like, you didn't know that you were capable of that. It's like you always walked away before you saw the things come off of the page, or like the delay between what you wrote down and when it came off the page was longer before. So maybe it was something that you didn't notice, and now it's like before your eyes you're starting to see things come off the page. You're starting to see things manifest faster. So it feels like this is something that you're like freshly observing and learning about now. And yes, there may be some things that you're like, had I known that, like maybe I wouldn't have done that over there or whatever, but it's like, we can't change that now. So just keep that in mind as well. It's good for you to like acknowledge these things and process them to the point where you're like, okay, if I'm in that situation again, like I'm gonna do things differently or whatever. But beyond that, release it, let it go, because it's not gonna do anything for you except keep you stuck. For some of you too, it's been like a bit of a challenge for you to use your voice in an honest way based off of how you're actually feeling, like authentically and truly. For some of you, it's with a specific person. It's not in general. For some of you, it's in general. For some of you, it's with a specific person that you may struggle to be clear with. This may not all be on you also. Maybe you feel like this person, like you don't want to be perceived in a particular way by this person. Like they may lean in one direction and you may lean in the other, and you don't want them to see you as being like illogical or overly emotional, like whatever this is that you may judge yourself for being in relation to your emotions. You may be projecting that onto this person. Like, let's say that you're uncomfortable, like vulnerably sharing your emotions. You may project onto this other person that they're going to judge you and call you hysterical if you share what you're really feeling, you know, something like that. Just an example. So just give this time. It seems like at this point, this is something that you're coming to understand as far as your expression, especially through like your conversations with others. So just like allow, I'm seeing your guides be like, right now is the time to be an observant sponge. Because it's going to help resolve this conflict that you've been feeling. Yeah, for some of you, this is for sure between you and another person. If you share with them how you really feel, it looks like there's going to be a separation between you and this person, because I'm seeing somebody at this point acknowledging this really isn't what I need emotionally. It's not aligned with my values emotionally any longer. And that may be why you haven't brought this up, because then there's going to be, you're like opening the door for change, which can feel very intimidating. But I'm seeing at this point, this is like really not sitting well with you anymore. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that. But I'm actually getting it on the left side of the throat chakra, which means first, before anything, you need to be receptive to your own feelings before you're then communicating them with this person. So you need to figure out what's going on with you first and get a good idea of that and kind of organize it before you communicate it. So it's kind of like getting to know yourself in this moment within this situation prior to bringing it up. But yeah, what I'm getting is that this person that you need to speak about this with, you may know that if you do this, it's really gonna be like that with them. Like there's gonna be conflict, to say the least. But what I'm getting is you being in a spot where you're like getting to this point where you're like, I actually want to manifest something differently within my life that's not this. I want to manifest something that feels like it's more in alignment. So you're actually, the trajectory right here that I'm seeing is, what I'm seeing is going to happen as far as this trajectory just right now in this snapshot of the moment, okay? I'm seeing that you are going to reflect on how you feel and get a very clear picture of that, because you're going to sit with yourself and you're going to be like, this is what I'm feeling, I'm acknowledging this, and I need to do something and be true to myself here, even though it's a challenging position for me to be in, to acknowledge all of this and to feel all of this. Then I'm going to bring it up to this person. There's most likely going to be conflict when I bring it up, but I'm at the point where I'm ready to face this, because I know that this is no longer in alignment for me anymore emotionally. I don't feel like it's fulfilling. And I do want that type of connection, and I'm acknowledging that it's not going to happen with this person. You've tried. So now you're at the point where you're like, so I'm manifesting like what's the best way to put this? Manifesting, even if you're not taking action right now, you're setting yourself up to be separating yourself from this situation. And that's what you're at the point right now of learning about and realizing, is maybe like how to take these actual steps to separate yourself from this situation, to move on from it, because it's not aligned anymore, and you know it's not aligned emotionally for you. It may be aligned in other ways for you, but right now you're bringing the Queen of Cups to the front. So this is like, what do I need, and like, what am I trying to connect with? And understanding too that your emotional needs are just as important as your physical needs, as your like mental needs, as your passionate needs. So it's understanding that even though it's kind of like an invisible thing, it's just as important, because it's something that's going to eventually affect your mind and your soul and your body and all of that if you don't pay attention to it. And also if you do pay attention to it, the effects will just vary depending on whether you're bringing it to the front or not. There may be somebody that you're talking to about this. Yeah, there can be somebody outside this situation that you're talking to about this. I'm getting confirmation of that. I'm hearing letter. Maybe you're sending someone a letter, or you're getting a letter. That can also just be like a metaphor for communication or like messaging, something like that. Yeah. coming back to this idea, I'm seeing that you're at this point where you're like realizing that maybe you had been limiting yourself as far as what you believed you could manifest within your life, and now you're at a point where it feels like you're trying things out and realizing like, oh, I can do this, and oh, I can manifest that too. It's like this belief that's changing for you that you're learning about. Coming back to the like Harold and the purple crayon, it's this moment where you're just like realizing what you're capable of, whereas before it may not have been something so much on your radar. But I'm seeing this be like a beginning learning period for you. Like it doesn't look like something that you're like, I feel like I'm totally confident and I totally know what I'm doing here. This is more so like you're testing the water at this point and kind of like branching out a bit as far as what you're beginning to manifest within your life. And seeing like the impact of your thoughts and your words especially. And what that ends up having like materialize for you within your life. The challenge is to be open to sort of like seeing how much you can expand, because I feel like it's really going to surpass the maybe small even expectations that you have. Like something that you can do, I'm seeing can very much go like far beyond what you're even perceiving at this point. And so by you testing things, you're going to see like how far you can take this. The challenge also that you're facing seems like it's wanting to possibly avoid confrontation with this person. But once you, let's say it like this, you may fear or have hesitance about like having this dialogue with this person because of the confrontation, but it's really just you. Rewind. You may feel hesitant to have this conversation with this person because of the conflict involved. However, if you can resolve the conflict internally first and then have the conversation, it's not going to be an issue because you'll have already resolved the conflict. And so you will already have like surrendered to the situation essentially. But this person is your interaction and your relationship with this person and this looming like potential conflict that you're going to have with them is just a reflection of what's going on internally. So if you can square that away internally, when you get to having this conversation with the person, you're going to already be good with it, okay? So this, you have to do the work for, well, you don't have to, but it will be easier for you to figure this out internally first and then be able to address it with this person. Because when you're squared away in here, you're going to feel calm and centered when you have that communication because you already know what you want to do and you're not going to be swayed by this person because you know what it is already. You know that you're not happy here. You know that it's time to carry on. Because it feels like there's something missing, and there is, you can feel it, and you know that that's not in alignment then. You know that when you reach the point in a connection or in a cycle where like my heart's really not in it anymore, it's time for you to continue. That's the signal saying, come on, let's keep moving. So you're also learning to like how to interpret the signals that you're getting as well. But coming back to what I was saying, because you're at this point where you're getting more clear on, no, this really isn't working for me, and now I'm like surrendering to this and I really am going to move out of this space. Once you resolve that conflict of do I stay or do I go, and you make your mind up, it's going to be like no sweat to have the conversation with this person. But resolving the conflict within you first is like the best way to do this, the best way to approach it, even though this person is there symbolically for you. It also feels very real too. What I'm saying is that this person is like also a symbolic reflection of what's going on internally for you. Because if you didn't have any conflict, any feelings of conflict about stepping out of this situation, you wouldn't fear addressing this with this person. Like that wouldn't be something on your radar coming up because you'd already have resolved it internally. So there are two different ways that you can approach this. Actually, more than two different ways. It just depends on what you want to go with. But as far as what I'm seeing your guides say is most effective, it's like figuring out how you're feeling, getting really clear on that, making your mind up about what you want to do, then informing this person of what's going to happen, just kind of like prepare for them to have their own feelings and opinion about this, and just shoot straight, like stay on the road that you know is right for you, and don't be swayed. Unless you are, and then that's okay too. You're just still figuring and feeling this out. Okay, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everybody for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.